Hello everybody and welcome back to Grand Bazaar. I am now ready to wrap up the winter season and head into year 3, and this is going to be a bit of a shorter video, and we're going to be looking at the last two festivals of winter. So I'm standing outside of my house right now. We've gone back in time to the 24th, which is the Starry Night Festival. And I skipped this because the cutscene is a lot shorter when you're married, and you don't have to put in all of the work on the day before to ask your date and to show up at a certain time, obviously, because now we're married and we just do the whole festival with our spouse. I had to wait until 8 p.m. to be able to see this event, so it is a little bit later in the day. Now that we've done all of our farm work, we can just rest and relax with our lovely wife, who has done all of the cooking and taken care of all of that for us. She has once again completely outdone herself. Every time she cooks, it looks fantastic. And she's got a little bit of everything here. It looks like we've got kind of a lighter spread of food. We've got a soup, salad, and a sandwich. Classic kind of lunch type of food. And then we've got some beautiful dessert as well. She says she works hard, and it definitely looks like she did. Thank you very much, Freya. I appreciate that. I would devour the heck out of all that food. And then once you're done, it will automatically force you to go to sleep. You cannot play anymore once you've entered your house and seen this festival. So make absolutely certain that you've done everything that you've wanted to do in the day. Because it's a little bit later in the day that this festival takes place, hopefully you've done everything that you need to do. But if you have stuff growing downstairs in the basement and you're coming in to water those for a second time, just beware that you won't be able to do that after 8 p.m. So we'll get a little bit of extra friendship with our spouse and our child if we have one for that event. And that's that. So we're now on the 25th. Obviously, I've played past this because we've attended our last winter bazaar in the last video. So I'm now ready to go right to the New Year's Eve festival. We can bring in the new year, and that will pretty much wrap up the second year in game for us. So here we are. I've made a save later on in the day just so that we can go right to the festival. There's not really much else to talk about in this season that I haven't already covered. However, there are a few little things that I would like to do just because this video is going to be way too short otherwise. One of the things that I've had sitting in my inventory for quite a long time that I totally meant to cook with but didn't was tofu. I bought this from the bazaar, and making tofu itself, I don't have the ingredients for it, but I can use the tofu that I bought to make a couple of dishes and to add to our recipe book. So I've got pretty much everything I need to make 3 recipes out of this little bit of tofu. I've skipped a lot of the cooking that I've wanted to do in previous episodes, so I figured that this was a great time just to kind of go over cooking a few dishes. The first thing that we can do is just put tofu in by itself on its own, and that will make us some dried tofu. And then the rest of our recipes need oil, and one of them needs flour as well, which we also have. So I'm gonna go in with the most complex and the one that will sell for the best amount of money, which is tofu, flour, and oil. We can also see that I have some flour that I've had kicking around for a little while here that is also degrading in freshness a little bit. So this is the perfect time to use all of this stuff up, because all of this new food, this fried tofu I've just made, is going to be completely fresh. It's a wonderful way to use up those ingredients that I've just had sitting around. It's going to shrink my inventory a little bit. And then finally, we've got 4 pieces left, and we're just going to combine that with a little bit of oil. And that will give us some fried okra. The fried okra and the fried tofu should sell for a decent-ish amount over at the bazaar. I'm still not sure whether I want to really attend our next bazaar or whether I want to take a little bit of time to get a few more things to bring with us. But I figured I would do that little bit of cooking and then kind of go from there, because that's at least just something to use up before I forget. And because it's the end of the year and it's the end of the season, I think it's a really good time to look at all of our statistics. And I think I've actually slept on this for the last little while. In our first year, we were looking at absolutely everything at the end of each month. But the second year has just been so smooth, and there hasn't been a lot of stuff that we've really unlocked, so I haven't had a look at this in quite some time. You can see that by the end of year 2, we are now up to 8 barn animals. We still only have 4 chickens, but I'm quite happy with that. They've been serving their purpose extremely well. We have 2 cats and 2 dogs. And we have finally reached our 100% level at the bazaar. The only thing missing on this first screen is going to be our child, which will happen next year. And our earnings report, we earned $4.5 million and we spent 1.5. So at this point, our farmer could pretty much call it done, and I think he could just retire. With the cost of things in this town and what things cost at the bazaar, I think we would be set. And our numbers are probably going to look a little bit different if I end up, say, playing an entire year. It'll be quicker if I do the whole year, but it'll definitely look different than this, because we most likely will not be going to a lot of the bazaars in year 3, but we really killed it this year. The first year was a lot of setup and getting our expansions and our upgrades in place, and then this year we were able to really focus on some absolutely amazing profits in order to get that bazaar all the way up to 100%. Nothing new to really say about our windmills. There are going to be some recipes that get unlocked in year 3, and I will go over those at some point. And unfortunately, we are still waiting for our trees to come in. I want to have a little bit of an orchard, and that would be nice to kind of look at some of these other recipes, which are really fantastic for some money making. It might help us out in year 3. Looking at making some wines and some pickled vegetables as well, from what I can recall, is also a really fantastic way to make some money. And I've planted myself a second tea tree, so we're going to be able to get double the amount of tea leaves this year, and we can also hopefully combine our orchard with our tea leaves, and we can make ourselves some different varieties of tea as well, which would be lovely. And there's not much to say in terms of our milling windmill. We've used it plenty. I think we've pretty much made seeds out of every single thing that we've grown. We've gotten plenty of use out of it, and I've swapped all the different wonderfuls that I've had just to make it work better for me, and I will continue to use that going into year 3. And then with our jewelry, our necklaces, and all of that as well. I've gone through the process of using all the different kinds of ores, and we've gone over what a lot of these things will sell for. And I've been upgrading my hoe, my watering can, making an effort to increase my fishing rod as well. So I haven't unlocked any new recipes, and there's not really much else going on here to talk about. But our windmills have definitely been well used and well loved. They've served us very, very well. And currently, we have been working on cooking through all of year 2. We have 8 out of 10 salads unlocked, 8 out of 13 soups, 31 of 61 appetizer recipes, which I think is actually quite good because we did not have a lot in this category to start out with, and we've managed to fill this out, and it's starting to look pretty respectable. There's definitely a lot more here that I hope we'll be able to cook going into year 3. Our main dish category is still a little bit lacking, but again, when we started at the beginning of year 2, I believe the only recipe we had at the time was an omelet. So we have added 14 recipes to this. I've done what I could, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to fill that out a little bit more. 9 of 39 desserts. Was hoping to work on desserts a little bit more, but when our fruits come in and I've grown a few more fruit trees, we can come back and try and fill this out a little bit more. And then our other category is a little bit difficult to fill out until we are able to make all of the different cans of tea. I've also been buying some of these recipes from the ladies at the bazaar, such as wine, and I have bought a few teas just to kind of start filling this out and helping me out a little bit, because I have the money and I might as well buy some of those recipes just to make my life a little bit easier. Our fish library is still really lacking, and I made a very honest effort to do some fishing in the winter time. So I have to kind of look into it to see if it is like bugs where certain fish only show up at certain times of the day, because I tend to do my fishing much later on in the evening. And you can see going through this list that some of the fish are seasonal, which I did know. But I've used both a small and a medium fishing rod, and my fishing log is still not even halfway done, which is a little bit disappointing because I did show off some of the fish that I had caught, and we even made a few recipes using some fish as well. Our critters, on the other hand, still almost near completion, and I did catch a few new ones in year 2. We are at 72 of 85, which I think is fantastic. I've certainly done my share of bug catching. And as for our friendships, I think I still have been doing a fairly good job in trying to max these out. I have some of the villagers maxed out, like Dirk, and I've been making an effort with some characters like Amir. I made dishes especially for him. Some of the characters, I've purchased some of their favorite food items if I've seen it at the bazaar. Someone like Felix, who I struggled with earlier on, has caught up and has gotten pretty far ahead of some of the other characters. And I have brought some gifts with me to give out when we go to the festival. So Marion is maxed out right now. Kevin is nearly maxed out. And most people are at least halfway to a full 10 of hearts. I probably could have worked a little bit harder. They probably could be at a higher friendship than this, but in terms of befriending them for the random events and seeing those, a lot of them are already at a point where I should be able to see and obtain all of those other random events. So the only thing we are missing on our farm is a trough, which will unlock only if we decide to buy more animals. Our storage is 100% full, and we did a lot better in festivals this year. We placed first in our animal festival, our snowboarding festival, and in our pet festival. The only festival we didn't do so great on was horse racing, but I have been taking my horse out this season and continuing to pet and feed it. So hopefully we'll be better when we attempt it next year. And then this is just an overall snapshot of everything that I've already gone over. So that is a full comprehensive view of everything that went on in year 2, just so that you are all caught up. And we can now head on over to the festival. We can say goodbye to this year and we can head on into year 3 and what will definitely be our last year in this game. I don't have presents for everybody today, but I do have gifts for most people. I even brought gifts for the children, not remembering that the children do not attend this festival. The rationale being that it is too late for them to stay up, so it's just the adults today. And the few villagers that I don't have gifts for, I should have gifts going into spring. And I'm skipping people like Marion and Dirk and Sherry because their friendships are already maxed out. But we'll say hello. We definitely don't want to give anybody the cold shoulder. I will go ahead and give Lloyd his bug. I should be able to make his most favorite dish in the world in year 3, and that will get his friendship all caught up. Finally, we're gonna give some material stone to both Isaac and Wilbur. And that covers most of the adults, with the exception of Stuart and Angelo. And in fact, I do have a gift for Stuart. I just forgot about it. So I do still give gifts to villagers, but it's more or less just if it's convenient for me now. I don't actively go out and seek people as much as I used to. But I definitely have the variety behind me. So it's now late enough that we could start the New Year's festivities, and it's kind of nice because this festival does not require us to do anything. We don't have to bring anything. We just have to show up. And Freya comes to this festival. It's so nice to see her. It's the one festival I've noticed that she's here for. It's time to usher in the new year. I also like this music. Three, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Let's make the next year a great one. We're gonna have ourselves more food, another beautiful feast. I don't know who cooked, but whoever did, you did a fantastic job. That all looks extremely appetizing. This video has made me very hungry. And just like the Starry Night Festival, this will force you to go to bed afterwards. You cannot stay up and do anything else at this point, so make sure you get all of your chores done. And then when you're ready, crawl into bed, and when you wake up, it's going to be a beautiful spring day, and we will be able to roll into year 3. And just like that, it is time to start another new year. And I feel that in my soul because I'm recording this in December and it's only about 2 weeks away from a new year in real life. So I totally feel that New Year's is coming up soon, in fact, but unfortunately we don't get to go right into a beautiful spring on January 1st like we do in this game. And I've talked a lot in this video with not a lot of action, so I'm going to stop things here, but we've got a lot on our calendar in our first season, and I'm hopefully going to talk about what my plan is for year 3 in the next video. We have our first bazaar coming up in a few days. We've got our flower festival coming up once again, which is always really fun just to participate in regardless. And we have our tea party. Lots of birthdays. There's definitely going to be a lot here to keep me busy. And hopefully I will be able to find a way to continue playing into year 3 and showing off some of the new things that we unlock in this year, while also mostly just highlighting those things and kind of speeding our way through so that I can finally be done with this playthrough. We made it through year 2, we got the bazaar 100% upgraded, and there's just a few more things to see in year 3, so please stay tuned. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.